Hello, everybody. Welcome to Successful Perspectives. Successful Perspectives, of course, is when we deep dive into the topic of leadership with one of our members from our very influential and selective network, Boardroom by EMIR. And today I'm delighted to be joined by Bilal Fares, the Senior Vice President and General Manager for Emerging Markets Central from Adidas. Bilal, it's a pleasure to have you here with us today.
Pleasure is mine. Thank you for inviting me, and congrats. I'd love to see this conversation evolving with EMIR and Boardroom by EMIR.
Excellent.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. So Bilal, as I've gotten to know you over the last number of years, I've always been interested to learn more about your very impressive leadership journey.
Thank you.
When you were younger and on your journey to becoming a leader, was there someone you looked up to that was someone you wanted to be as a leader in your career?
Yeah, and it's a little bit different to what you would expect. I was born in Lebanon in 1980, in the middle of a civil war and an ugly conflict in the country. And the people that were quite influential for me, someone of a very strong resonance and guidance were my father and two uncles who were in the military. But what I always appreciated in the tough times during the horrible experiences that I saw and felt, they were that very clear, solid, confident, comforting almost character consistently were very resilient to any atrocities, as you can imagine, in a civil war, but at the same time looking after everyone around them, making sure that there's a clear, safe, again, comforting way out of every conflict that we experience. So those three were definitely for a long time were the energy source and the support. So I grew up thinking I'm going to be taking that path, but long and behold, business got the better out of me.
And Bilal, when you reflect on all of this and on your journey as a leader, what's the one popular belief that as a leader is total nonsense?
Look, there's many. I remember clearly growing up in the business environment, in the corporate environment, and you don't choose to be a leader. Organically, you sort of transition into that and you find yourself more and more comfortable / finding that value and that calling and doing it. And clearly leaders are not all created equally, and there's different profiles that you resonate with more, but there's definitely some consistent ones. One, you don't have to be a loud, obnoxious character to be a leader. I think some people mistaken that, and often in my conversations, even with my team, the shy, introverted ones think that they're not there because, or they're not going to be there because of that character. And that's definitely a big misconception. But the one I think that's strongest is that people believe to be a leader and the top of the organization, you have to be the smartest person, which is far from being true. I admit it myself, I've got smarter people on my team, and I think that's the skill of bringing a diverse set of perspectives, characters, intellects around you to give you that balance, because you could be on one side, you need the other side in anything that you do, whether it's emotional intelligence, whether it's IQ, whether it's finance, whether it's whatever it is, you can't be it all. So I think the higher responsibility, the bigger of responsibility you have as a leader, you have to have that humble perspective that you won't be the perfect expert in everything. And some people in your team will be smarter than you. It's about how do you bring that organic connection to produce what you need to produce.
Do you feel it can be lonely at the top of an organization? And is there anyone now that you go to for advice?
Yeah, look, excellent point. And 100%, the answer is yes. Especially for people like me, I feed off people's energy. I would struggle if I'm working from home. I would struggle if I'm traveling. This is where my forte is, around people that I enjoy working with, people that are challenging me, pushing me, working with the same energy, etc., etc. And often there's a blurring line between you becoming a bit too personal, given that they are your next reports or your organization that you have to have some sort of a boundary with, versus seeing them getting together and loving life as a bunch. So there is definitely a sense of almost envy to that situation that you find yourself in. But on the other hand, whether it's in the organization or outside the organization, you must have that character person that understands you, often have the same energy, same drive. And I'm very fortunate. My boss is actually someone who's very similar. He's all about people. He's very laid back and Australian, unfortunately for some. But you can connect with them and understand that, hey, when you need someone to just vent, to soundboard something, or when you're feeling a little bit lonely, these are the people that absolutely are a phone call away or a message away from getting together and making things a little bit better.
And then Bilal, how do you identify potential leaders in your organization, and what behaviors do they typically exhibit?
We spoke about, again, different leaders behaving and selecting and doing everything differently. But with me, it's not about your knowledge or expertise or what you're demonstrating per se when it comes to your function or your work. It's more about that profile and that oomph that you can feel, that aura, that energy that you can feel. And there's two traits that are often consistent in what I look at. One is that hunger, people that are willing to push the boundaries, willing to go the extra mile. The cliche, but you see some people cruising and happy to cruise, and that's okay. There are people born for that. But the people that lead need to have that stretch about them, need to be able to, at times that are tough, times that they'll be tested, they need to be able to push themselves further to be able to support. So that's definitely an important trait. And the second one is resilience. If you're making mistakes, if you're falling over and then dusting yourself off and carrying on without being too miserable about it, I think that's important, because in leadership, you will be absolutely broken along the way in so many ways, so many circumstances, that you need to have that muscle about you. And we've all experienced COVID, we've all experienced downs and ups and challenges in this region and our work and our family. So that resilience and the ability to navigate yourself out of the darkness of whatever challenge for yourself and for the business or for the team is incredibly important. More important than the function, more important than the knowledge. I think if you have those two elements, to me, you've got the ingredients for success, definitely.
So Bilal, this is the last question, okay? But something that I hear from quite a lot from members is the journey on finding your actual purpose. So how have you found your purpose?
It's a deep question. And the answer, honestly, I don't know. I don't think there's a playbook to say, this is how you can go about your purpose, or this is how you can resonate with something that means something for you, that is important enough to fight for and to go and invest all your energy and time and become that objective. But for me, I think, and maybe with a little bit of age, wisdom is starting to kick in, your different stages in your life, whether it's on the personal side or on the business side, dictate what you need to focus on. Mm-hmm. I think in the youth, in the early days, you are competing with thousands of people that are as qualified, sometimes a bit more qualified than you. So how do you shine within those? And again, I'm not just talking about getting the next job or the next promotion. It's about being seen to be naturally a trusted leader or a trusted, capable person that a business can rely on or a environment can be relied on. So I think that is a purpose that needs to be defined for that 20s generation. Say, everyone can offer education, everyone can offer a master's on their CV. What makes you different? And you need to bring what you're good at, your personality, your character, your sense of humor, your ability to bond with people. That's when you need to hone in and say, okay, this is who I am, and that's who defines my character, and that's where I'm gonna hopefully shine, being the different person, someone who's just sitting down and excels or is a bookworm, etc., with all respect to all these people. But that's, I think, the stage in the 20s. In the 30s, it's definitely an age of sacrifice. I think, again, to make it further, you will have to compromise. You will have to make sure that there are points where the greater good of your career, of your life, when you're 80, retiring somewhere and enjoying life, that sacrifice you make in your 30s will make that a better life or less life. And again, that's my personal philosophy. Some people, again, are happy to do what they want to do and cruise through it. To me, if you want to overachieve, if you want to be really rewarding yourself and everyone around you, whether it's business or work, with something above normal, you have to have that age of compromise, taking the tough jobs, traveling, taking on responsibilities that are scary, that are stretching you, and things that make you honestly scared. Until you go through those motions, there's an old cliche about comfort being a great place, but nothing grows there. And from my journey, I was born in Lebanon, as I mentioned earlier. I lived in Tasmania. For anyone that knows the proximity, it's literally the other end of the world when it comes to. And these decisions were incredibly scary. But I knew that there was a compromise for me, for my family who was supporting me. But the bigger goal, the greater good would be benefiting, and thankfully it's come to it.
Bilal, genuinely excellent insights, fascinating, and even for myself, like reflecting on my own journey in life, even from a leadership perspective, there's a lot of food for thought there for myself and for everyone watching as well. Genuinely, thank you for being on Successful Perspectives, and I look forward to seeing you again in person
Thanks
soon.
for having me.
Thank you. Folks, that's all we have the time for today, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Successful Perspectives.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.